At 6, the third heat wave of the summer prompts new amber health alerts affecting millions of people. They cover the whole of the Midlands and south of England and mean there's a greater risk for older people and those with health conditions.
As the climate changes, are heat waves like this becoming the new normal? I've been taking a look.
As the heat wave continues, it sparks an increased amber health alert. We look at ways to cope in this third heat wave of the summer.
Amber heat alerts are issued for parts of England as the UK is hit by a third heat wave so far this year. The first hosepipe bans of the summer come into place, with more than 6 million people being told to restrict their water use. Amber heat alerts are issued for parts of England. Hosepipe bans are in force as the UK is hit by a third heat wave this year.
There are warnings of more high temperatures across the capital as the heat health alert is upgraded.
No surprises as to what everyone's still talking about. Yes, it's the hot weather. 3 heat waves in quick succession. So we look at what plans are being put in place to make sure London can cope in the future.
Our buildings are terrible and they tend to trap heat indoors, and it's a threat both to human health but also to our productivity.
And the hot weather's causing problems too. I'm in East London, where firefighters have been tackling a large grass fire all afternoon, and it's one of many they've dealt with during this recent period of hot weather.
Hello there. New heat amber health alerts have come into force as a third heat wave affects millions this summer. Many are also under hosepipe bans. Now, the alerts from the UK Health Security Agency cover the whole of the Midlands and south of England and will stay in place until Monday morning. Now, it means a greater risk is expected for older people and those with health conditions, along with there being increased pressure on the health and social care services. A yellow warning is in place for the north of England. Meanwhile, in Kent and Sussex, South East Water has become the second company to issue a hosepipe ban affecting 1.4 million customers. It follows Yorkshire Water, which today warned its 2.3 million households its hosepipe ban could last into the winter. Well, Rowan Bridge is live in Harrogate with more on all of this for us tonight. Rowan.
Clive, good evening from the Great Yorkshire Show, where temperatures are due to peak around now at 29 degrees. But the reality is it's felt blisteringly hot here all day, and the parched ground around me tells you its own story about the lack of rain there's been. But today has definitely been one for sunscreen and sunglasses. But the reality is that the heat has affected just about every corner of the country today, and that has come with its own consequences. This reservoir was 80% full this time last year. Now levels are down over 10%. The lack of rain's forced South East Water to announce a hosepipe ban for its domestic customers in Kent and Sussex. And today a similar ban was introduced by Yorkshire Water. But leaks in the area are frustrating residents.
So by the end of the day I thought, oh, they'll have sorted it, but no, it's literally going on 2 weeks now and it's just constant water flowing through.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous. It's just, there's nothing more to say. It's silly.
Yorkshire Water says it's been finding and fixing leaks 24/7, which has resulted in leakage being at its lowest ever level. At the Great Yorkshire Show in Harrogate, everyone was trying to keep cool.
We have fans in all the sheds that are blowing constantly. Exhibitors bring their own good fans that blow air at them, cooling down. Pressure washers, as you've seen, been washed, cattle been washed. And a wet towel on an animal's back, it's surprising how much good that does.
Farms are exempt from the ban, but the heat was the only topic of conversation at this celebration of agriculture and what it might mean long term.
It's more changeable weather and unpredictable weather, which is the challenge that we face. It's about climate change and it's about mitigating for the future. So we're talking about different crops, different species of grass, which will probably be more tolerant to drought and innovations like that.
The high temperatures are also a threat to pets. The RSPCA has warned they don't cope well with the heat. Celebrity vet Peter Wright says it's important to keep cats and dogs cool.
This weather can be fatal, and I've seen it occur on numerous occasions in practice where animals have been brought into us suffering from heat stroke, and sadly it's been too late.
In Harrogate's unremitting heat, the water station was as much of a draw as the animals on show.
You've come prepared. I have, yes. I've got water, I've got a fan, I've got my umbrella, yeah, come prepared.
How essential is an ice cream today?
Very essential. I think there'll be like another 3 today or something. Not gonna lie. Blow the budget on ice cream.
This heat's due to last into the weekend, and there may be showers at the start of next week. But that won't be enough to end Yorkshire's hosepipe ban. Rowan Bridge, BBC News, Harrogate.
Well, some of us of a certain age will always compare current heat waves to the extraordinary summer of 1976. That year still holds the record for the longest lasting heat wave in the UK, 16 consecutive days. But back then it was a rarity, a one-off. So are today's heat waves the new meteorological norm? Ben Rich from BBC Weather has that story.
There's no doubt that the heatwave in 1976 was extraordinary, but it was just a small blip in an otherwise cool decade. This chart shows that some years in the 1970s had no days above 30 degrees. You can see the gaps in the bars here. But fast forwards to the most recent decade, every year had a number of days in the 30s. What used to be rare has now become regular. Global temperatures have risen by more than 1.3 Celsius since the Industrial Revolution, which might not sound like much, but that is driving a much bigger increase in extremes of hot weather. In large parts of England and Wales, heat waves have become 3 or 4 degrees hotter. One remarkable thing this year is that the hot summer weather has followed an extremely warm spring. You can see here the overall UK temperatures for the last 10 springs. Blue colours below average, pinks above average, and for 2025, deep reds. Temperatures more than 2 degrees Celsius above average in almost all parts of the UK.
With South East Water about to impose a ban on 1 million customers in Kent and Sussex. Here's our North of England correspondent, Rachel Townsend, on the picture across boiling hot Britain.
Baiting's reservoir has a capacity of over 3 billion litres. Today, it looks more like desert terrain. Well, the thin line of grass is where water should reach, but now levels are so low it has exposed this old pack horse bridge. Ordinarily, this is completely underwater. And this is the reason why over 5 million households across Yorkshire have been banned from using hosepipes. Next week, another 1.4 million residents from the southeast will join them.
The usage of water has increased exponentially, and yet the facilities haven't.
The prices have all gone up and everything for things, but we're getting worse service.
Bills have gone up and litres of water are gushing out of the street and not being repaired for months. They're taking the mick.
And the anger is because of the water lost through leakages. Yorkshire Water loses 242 million litres a day through leaks. South East Water loses 104 million litres. Their ban comes in parts of Kent and Sussex next Friday. It'll prohibit the use of hose pipes to water gardens, clean cars and fill pools. Anyone who flouts the ban faces a fine of up to £1,000. It comes as heat health alerts for the Midlands, the South West and South East. London and the east of England have been upgraded to amber as Britain bakes in temperatures in excess of 30 degrees Celsius. The third heat wave this summer has meant this Leeds school for autistic children has had to take special measures to keep their pupils safe.
For some of our students, they need some extra support on understanding why they might not be able to use some of the areas. So a lot of change for our children is quite difficult.
Yorkshire and South East Water insist they're investing millions to try and tackle leakages. Little comfort for the millions having to turn their taps off during one of the hottest periods of the year. Rachel Townsend, ITV News, Yorkshire.
Well, the hot weather has prompted fresh warnings about the dangers of cooling off in open water. Our Midlands correspondent Ben Chapman is at Sutton Coalfield, where the body of a teenager has been recovered from a lake after a large search operation. And Ben, the boy was reported missing last night, wasn't he?
That's right, and despite that, we've seen more teenagers swimming in the water here this evening. It was around this time yesterday that emergency services began arriving here, and after a search by specialist teams lasting several hours, the boy's body was sadly recovered from the water at about 10 o'clock last night. People have been coming here this afternoon to lay flowers. This evening, the boy's school has named him as 16-year-old Daniel Druitt. Staff there said he brought life and character to the entire school community. And while we don't know the precise circumstances of the incident here last night, it has prompted the lifeboat charity, the RNLI, to remind people of the dangers of open water, as tempting as it may look on a hot weekend like this one is going to be. The water can often be much colder than people expect. It can lead to cold water shock. Their advice, if people get into difficulty or they see somebody in trouble, is float to live. Float on your back, remain calm, try not to thrash about or to panic. Heed warning signs, and if you're in any doubt at all, don't go in the water in the first place.
OK, thanks very much, Ben. Well, let's get more details now on just how hot it's going to be over the next few days. Joe is in Leeds for us tonight. Joe.
Yes, I'm in Leeds in Yorkshire, where of course the hosepipe ban has come in effect today, and for many central and southern parts of England, that amber heat health alert as we head that warning into this weekend. Temperatures continuing to rise. Of course, it is our third heat wave across the UK of the year, and it's expected that heat waves will become more frequent and intense over coming years, both worldwide and here in the UK, with the Met Office predicting that temperatures will be rising across all seasons going forward, but specifically in the summer months here in the UK and specifically in the southeast of England, where it will increase certainly over the next couple of years or so. Now today it's reached 34 Celsius, tomorrow perhaps 34 or 35 degrees in the southwest of England. Temperatures begin to cool off just a little bit next week, but it's still well above average for the time of year.
But first, the third heat wave of the summer is upon us, with another amber heat health alert issued for the capital for this weekend. And London Fire Brigade has issued its own warning for us to take extra care not to accidentally start a fire during the hot weather. Anna Geary is at Wanstead Flats, where firefighters have been tackling a grass fire. Anna, how is it looking now?
Well, Duncan, they have been damping down all this afternoon. What you're looking at is what firefighters believe to be the impact of the careless disposal of a cigarette. Now, this afternoon it was a huge grass fire. It took 70 firefighters and 10 fire engines to get it under control. Fortunately, no one was injured on Wanstead Flats. Now, a short time ago, I spoke to the station commander, and he had some advice to Londoners on how to stay safe with this dry weather.
In areas of open land like this, where you've got shrubland and grassland, that particularly with the current temperatures being so high, are very dry and almost tinder-like. So we're really asking people to avoid smoking and barbecues in areas such as this. People might feel obliged to try and have a barbecue on a balcony. The risk of those are quite significant in those temperatures. Just one ember can lead to an incident of this size.
Well, London firefighters have responded to 23 wildfires this year so far, 4 this week alone. Now, yesterday, one in Rainham took 80 firefighters to get it under control. Now, this amber heat health alert is in place until Monday morning at 9 o'clock. As well as the dangers from wildfires, London Fire Brigade are urging people not to jump into open water, given the dangers posed by the cold shock and, of course, strong currents.
Anna Geary at Wanstead Flats, thank you very much. Well, meanwhile, a warning as the weather keeps hotting up. Too many people are drinking too much and putting a strain on the London Ambulance Service. They're getting an additional 1,000 calls a month during the summer months, with an increase in emergency calls where alcohol or drugs is a factor. Here's Helen Keenan.
Emergency ambulances, a patient breathing.
They're getting 150 calls a day, just like this. Alcohol and drug related, about injuries and overdoses.
What's the address of the emergency, please? We're having more calls coming in through the system. Means we could hold calls depending on how much staff we have. Means we've got to dispatch more ambulances. which we don't always have all the time. This is our system, this is what we use. And then by the end of the day, we have lots of people waiting for ambulances because of the backlog.
So this isn't just busy at night when you expect people to be out drinking?
No, it's not just busy at night. It starts in the afternoon, late afternoon, and it will go all the way through the night.
This is the control room for London Ambulance Service.
All right, let me look into that for you now.
Across London, we see 6,500 to 7,000 calls coming in to our control rooms.
Between June and August last year, the London Ambulance Service attended 9,700 alcohol-related calls and 4,700 drug overdoses, with numbers reaching 150 calls a day during the peak summer season.
We went to a person who had drunk far too much. They were laid on the ground, completely unconscious. There were other members of the public who also wanted to get involved. There was quite a lot of shouting, swearing, people telling us what we should and shouldn't be doing.
Can it be a scary time to be a paramedic in London?
It can be. It's a great job, but actually sometimes it is quite scary, especially when you're not quite sure what you're going to be faced with. And certainly people who are intoxicated through alcohol or through drugs are potentially slightly more volatile.
They've launched a campaign warning people to drink sensibly. With another heatwave underway in London, they're preparing for a potentially busy weekend. Helen Keenan, ITV.
A health alert for the hot weather has been upgraded, and in places there are hosepipe bans. After all, this is the third heatwave in a matter of weeks, and even though temperatures are set to drop next week, it's not actually by that much. Wildfires are also presenting problems, with residents around Wanstead flats in East London being told earlier today to keep doors and windows closed. Well, more on that shortly. But with so much going on, let's see how people are coping in the heat. Here's Lakshmi Gopal.
Another day, another heatwave. Well, that's what it may feel like, with Londoners facing their third one so far this summer. But refuge is available.
So this is one of the cool spaces that we have in London. Cool spaces could be, community centres, it could be libraries, outdoor spaces with shade.
This community building in St Pancras offers drinking water, air conditioning and a place to work.
We know that heat can have a huge impact on some of our most vulnerable residents, our elderly, children, those with underlying health conditions. There's a number of things that we're doing in London. Number one is getting more water fountains across our city, more street trees to make sure that Londoners are staying in more shade. Number three is getting our cool spaces mapped, and more importantly, also having the right guidance out for residents for how they could stay more cool during temperatures like this.
This is one of hundreds of designated cool spaces across the capital. Some parts of London have fewer than others, but if you've got any near you that would make a potential cool space, you can suggest it for consideration. And you can see all the cool spaces near you by going online and taking a look at the map.
But more permanent solutions are needed. City Hall is working on a London heat risk action plan to prepare for what's ahead.
We are not used to dealing with high temperatures, and those high temperatures are becoming more frequent and more extreme as a result of climate change. There should be very strong guidance in the London plan about constructing buildings to keep heat out and how to adapt them, putting shutters on the outside, putting blinds in.
Nature often does it better.
Out there you've got the concrete, you've got the buildings absorbing the heat, you've got the cars emitting even more heat. You come to a green space like this, you've got this lovely tree canopy providing shade, and the kind of vegetation on the ground is just a lot cooler.
This is the Railway Fields Nature Reserve in Haringey.
Unfortunately, London suffers from something called the urban heat island effect. So we know that city centres can be anywhere from 4 to 6 degrees warmer than the surrounding areas. Here, whilst we're still in an urban area, we're in a little green space.
This week, Harrow Council warned people not to sit near trees after big branches fell in some northwest London parks. The heatwave considered a possible factor.
Is there something that people should look out for to be able to avoid that?
I mean, what I would say generally on all green spaces is to be aware of health and safety signage, which can point out potential hazards, including those with trees.
Relief from this heat is around the corner, and London's heat plan is being drafted this autumn. You can share your ideas for it online now until the end of August. Lakshmi Gopal, BBC London.
So that's a bit about coping in the hot weather, but as I mentioned earlier, wildfires are presenting a real problem for fire crews and for the public. We can cross now to Thomas McGill, who's on Wanstead Flats in East London, where there's been a significant grass fire today. Thomas.
Yes, good evening, Assad. Well, I can tell you it is exceptionally hot down here at Wanstead Flats, where firefighters remain at the scene of this large grass fire. 14 acres were ablaze at one point earlier today, and this evening they are still here dampening down, but they've also confirmed that this blaze is very much under control this evening. Now, 70 firefighters from all across parts of East London attended this blaze, and as they were saying earlier today, it's not the first time that they have attended a grass fire here in London during this recent period of hot weather. There was one just a few days ago in Enfield and another in Rainham. Now, earlier, the incident commander spoke to us about and offered advice on what we can do to keep these spaces safe.
Very quickly we're able to contain the fire, but there is, in these large park areas, there is a risk that fire can spread quite significantly, which is why we're imploring people of London to avoid things such as disposable barbecues and smoking, because just the careless disposal of a cigarette could lead to quite a significant fire.
Well, again, advice there from London Fire Brigade, and they're asking us all to act responsibly. Parks like this all across London are going to be exceptionally busy over the next couple of days as the temperature doesn't show any signs of reducing. And they've also said that what's most important is that we take responsibility for our rubbish, put cigarettes out properly and correctly, and avoid those disposable barbecues if you do intend to come to a park. They also remind us that many local authorities here in London have actually banned those disposable barbecues from their parks as well. Concern as well that perhaps this will not be the last grass fire they'll be attending, as the weather intends to stay like this for a few more days to come. Assad.